Right, so typically I do these while I'm driving, but two things. One, it's raining right now, so I want to be safe. And two, my phone died on me as I was leaving my last location, even though it was plugged in. It's doing this weird thing where it says it's like, oh, it's got 40% battery, but then it says, oh, it's got 0%. I don't know what's going on with it. Finally, I got it. Got the topic. And today's topic for our van vlog Venerde is, would it be better or worse if superheroes existed? I like to think it would be better because obviously in the movies the superheroes always tend to prevail, but they always there seems to be some sort of a reason to need a superhero, and that's usually some sort of super villain or some great cause that is hurting or harming a lot of people. So while my first instinct is to say yes, it would be awesome if superheroes existed, one thing we have to keep in mind in just about every superhero story is there is a lot of grief and loss that is associated with that superhero, because he arises because there is a need for said superhero. Typically speaking, but that's just the movies. Which wouldn't really be a good movie if it was just like, yeah, Superman does awesome stuff and everything's great all the time. There's always got to be that conflict, and kind of draws you in on that emotional scale when you see people suffering and dying, and especially when you have small kids who suffer and die or something of that nature, and if someone's got to avenge them or protect them, or we got to make certain that nobody else suffers or dies. So here comes Superman or Iron Man or Batman or whatnot, or Wonder Woman. Like I said, I don't want to be sexist, but yeah. So I think it's like my first tendency is to say yes, it's awesome, but at the same time though, I think we live in a fallen and broken world, and I just have a feeling that if there were superheroes, and my thoughts are all over the place on this, but if there were superheroes, I think that there's the possibility that really evil people would want to try to manipulate those superheroes in order for their own bidding. And they may say something along the nature of, if you don't do this, Superman, I'm going to blow up XYZ city. Now, keep in mind, as we've written, like, these superheroes, as a story has developed, they've become like godlike creatures. Especially, I think, like Superman, I think there was if I remember correctly, he's referred to as a god in the comic book literature, or I'm see if I get that correct. I could be wrong, but it's like he's on that level. And so when he first started, he was kind of like he could jump over a building, and he could run faster than a locomotive, and bend still and all that. He was the equivalent of what your average superhero is today, but over time he's morphed into something much greater than what he originally started out as. But so assuming that we're not talking about superheroes that can literally do whatever they want. Let's just say we're talking about average, ordinary superheroes. People like Spider-Man, and let's just say Iron Man, and Captain America, and I'm in the Marvel Universe right now, so I'm going to go to Batman and Aquaman. And, if there was some sort of, say, dictator out there that was holding a bunch of people, a gun to a bunch of people's heads and saying, hey, Aquaman, if you don't do this, or Batman, if you don't do this, then I'm going to kill all these people, then I think that we may have bigger issues there. And so that would be kind of my concern. Unless all these superheroes are godlike figures or whatnot, they can just kind of zoom in there real fast and take care of everything, and it doesn't really matter if a dictator or whatnot's got a gun to a bunch of people's heads. That's one thing. But we got to keep in mind that we don't live in a movie, or at least as far as I know, we don't live in a movie. We might. I mean, this might all be a simulation, and this all may all be a movie, and maybe there are superheroes. Maybe like in our world, like you know how we watch movies and we see people with really like special powers and whatnot, like that can run really faster, like faster than the speed of light, and they can do really great feats of strength. Maybe there's a world where like people don't even have bodies and they're just like they can't even move, and we're kind of like their superheroes. Like we can get from point A to point B. Maybe they're like relying on some sort of artificial intelligence like robots to move them around, and they only get to move if the robots want them to move. And I know I'm going off, but anyways, my point I'm making is maybe they're watching us, and even our ordinary feats of strength and accomplishment are like superheroistic to them. Superheroistic word, I don't know. But anyways, and I mean, keep in mind, not to be cheesy or to be too sentimental or anything like that, but there are people out there who do amazing things, and that should be considered heroes, especially this day and age, and especially at this time as we're going through this crisis and this virus crisis that we've got going on. There are people who are risking their lives on a daily basis to help serve and protect you, especially the medical professionals and everyone who's working within the medical field. Not just the doctors and the nurses who are awesome, but I mean even the ordinary people who are going in and out and cleaning the rooms. I don't mean to say they're ordinary, because obviously they're extraordinary at this point in time. And I don't, if you want to call them the cleaning crew or the orderlies that come in and change the bed sheets or whatnot, people who, because I think one thing you're going to see as a common theme throughout all the superhero comic books and movies and just the portrayal of all the superheroes is all of the really good superheroes are willing to stand up against something that is potentially damaging to them and that could potentially kill them. And even at their best, they're always facing something that is potentially going to be life-threatening to them, because they care about the greater good, and they want they're willing to give their all in order to serve the greater good. And I think that's what you're seeing today. So to kind of bring this full circle and everything, I'll say that I think we do have some real life superheroes today, and those are the people that are out there on the front lines combating this virus and doing what they can to help people with the virus. And also, I mean, I'm here at Target right now, and there's a lot of people in the service industry that are still out there making certain that you get your supplies that you want and risking their health and their well-being in order to not only make certain that you get the supplies that you want, but to make certain that the economy is still going in a way. And I know the economy doesn't seem to be as important right now as the immediate threat of the medical issue that we have here with the virus, but it's still important. I think a lot of people don't realize what would happen if the economy just shut down completely. And I'm not getting into an argument about, well, should we open the economy back up? That's not what I'm getting at. Obviously, we're doing a lot of really good measures right now, and the economy can wait a little bit. But during times of depression, the Great Depression, a lot of people lost their lives due to, like, I don't think we're going to worry about starvation now, but there's just a lot of issues that come along with it. And I think that these people are out here trying to just there's a bunch of people out there that are really putting their lives on the line and working hard, and I would say that those people should be considered real-life superheroes of today. But to get back to the question, if we're talking about something like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man type thing, I don't feel like I've answered the question. I mean, I'll put it that way right now. I don't really feel like I've answered the question. I would think if you're going to assume the narrative that is usually played out in comic books and comic book movies, then I would have to say no, because there only exists a superhero when there arises a need for a superhero, and typically speaking, I'd have to say it's usually worse than it is better. Usually, I think there's a lot there's a lot of extra death that obviously the movies and the comic book kind of gloss over, because they're just looking at the main character's girlfriend or whatnot. Oh, she gets saved, but like when these buildings are falling down, you're not seeing the countless number of people who are that are dying in these buildings because they're falling down. They're just kind of extras in the movie, but it's okay because, you know, Spider-Man's girlfriend is okay. Well, at least in one of the movies she was okay. The other one wasn't all that great, but you get my point, okay? So what I'm getting at is no. As of right now, if there becomes a super villain that and the occasion arises for a superhero to exist, then yes. And not to say, I guess I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to have to go back to it. I see where a supervillain has arisen in our midst. And like I said, midst is becoming my favorite word. It's in another video. But my point being is, we've got this supervillain out there right now, and there's a lot of people that are rising to the occasion to combat this supervillain as best as they can, putting their lives on the line. And there are a lot of people out there that are suffering and dying right now. And there are heroes all around us that are rising up. And I think that that's something to be proud of, and not just here in America, but all around the world. There are heroes that are rising up, and I'd say that on the scale, the perspective of all things, those people are just as super as anybody that you're going to see in the movies or read about in a comic book. So I hope that answers good enough for you. If you like the video, please like the video. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think about whether or not we should have superheroes, or whether or not they already exist. And if you don't like the video, that's okay too. You can click the thumbs down button. Feel free to subscribe and click that bell button so when you know other videos come out. Keep in mind that not all my videos are van vlogs. I have other videos as well that are different than the van vlogs. But once again, thanks for watching, and I hope every one of you stay safe out there. And to all of you out there who are on the front lines of this virus, just want to say thanks again. You mean the world to me and to a lot of people.